met you in the half-light, where the signals hum and fade, words hanging like laundry on a wire we never made. Your eyes were doing circles like a compass without north. I was counting all the seconds I've been walking back and forth. The clock was missing numbers, the street forgot its name. Every thought I carried felt borrowed, bent and strange. You spoke in quiet riddles, like rain against the glass. I felt something loosen that I didn't know I had. So tune your heart a little closer to mine. Let the static fall behind. We don't need a perfect line, just a frequency that holds through time. I've been trading paper promises at corners of the day, watching shadows sell their stories, then quietly walk away. But you stood like a question that refused to disappear, like a song I didn't know, but somehow always here. Your laugh moves slow and sideways, like smoke across a room. I followed it instinctively, like moths follow the moon. Every step between us shortened, though we didn't move it all, like gravity remembered why it had to fall. So tune your heart a little closer to mine. Let the static fall behind. We don't need a perfect sign, just a signal that survives the night. If love's a map with half the roads erased, we'll read it by the scars we trace. No fireworks, no closing door, just echoes learning what they're for. Now the world keeps spinning stories it insists are true, but I hear a softer rhythm every time I look at you, like something ancient waking underneath the noise, a quiet stubborn harmony that never begs for a choice. So tune your heart a little closer to mine. Let the static fall behind. In the spaces between
I think it worked. So today, I promise everybody, I am going to look into my crystal ball, and we are going to have technical problems today. That's part of the charm, right? Of the duct tape and glue presentation. That's how you know it's authentic. Yeah, I'm trying this RMTP thing with Substack as well. So if you are on Substack, hopefully you'll be posting your comments because I'm hoping they will come through the API they use for posting comments and stuff. Ben, what was the title to your opening song? I love it. Well, that is called "Tune Your Heart," and that is one of a list of tracks that I have created using AI music generators and putting together lyrics and figuring out chord progressions and transitions and timing and all that stuff I learned playing music my whole life. And this is why I had a presentation talking about it before, that the people who think, oh, all AI music is nonsense, they don't understand what AI is in this particular case, it's a sequencer with an AI component. A sequencer is what we use to create music. You see on a computer, all the tracks are laid out. They call them stems in AI. And that's how music has been produced now for, I don't know, 20 plus years. I mean, I got my first sequencer when I was how long? How long ago? I mean, I must have been 15 years old when I first had my first MIDI sequencer. So anyways, that is one of a list of tracks that I have put together. And hopefully the lyrics are having the effect that they should. And I have a whole bunch of other tracks that I'm preparing. Just got to get a window of time. I'm going to try to do it when I'm in Florida and put those things onto Spotify in form of an album. The best of them are pretty good. So Maureen says BJ wrote and sang. No, I didn't sing it. I could, but no, I didn't. Everything is sequencers, AI generated, and yeah, it's pretty cool. But I'm making sure all the tracks that I generate, they're within an octave that I can sing within. And but yeah, that's the short version. So a good morning and an amazing morning to all of you, and hopefully this is going to be the best Sunday morning of your life. I'm looking in the future and I'm thinking, not only are we going to have technical problems today, but this will also be the best, most positive Sunday morning of your life. And it's all going to start with this here. And what does it start with? Well, it starts with something that I got a comment about. And this was the best. This was one of the I've put some short little segments of this podcast of previous episodes up on Instagram and TikTok and all over the place, as I'm trying to systematize things for all the other podcasts that I produce. And this was on TikTok. I had put this thing about Canada's what we're going to discuss, Canada's new official land acknowledgement. And I got a comment from a friend Yeti on TikTok. That's his name. A friend Yeti says, I work for a Canadian company. Sorry, I worked for a Canadian company. I guess he's American. So he says, I worked for a Canadian company. I rolled my eyes all the time when they started every meeting like that. Guys, we sell insurance. So yeah, the parasitic woke mind virus has even infected insurance companies. But with that, we do need to come together around this, and we do need to grow our appeal to regular Canadians who, we all know they're tired of the nonsense. We all know they're tired of the postmodern victimization crap, and it's not just conservatives. It's liberals, libertarians, objectivists. They're all fed up with this garbage. And what we're doing is, now that I think it's codified in law in Canada, if I'm not sure, that this is Canada's official new land acknowledgement. So if you don't hear them doing it correct when you go to, I don't know, a union meeting or whatever, raise your hand and speak up and say, hey, that's not Canada's official land acknowledgement. This is Canada's official land acknowledgement. we'd like to gently acknowledge that we're standing on the traditional territory of, well, whoever was here savagely killing and genociding each other at the time. They aren't in charge anymore, so leave us alone. Sip. I'm telling you, that is going to be popular across the political spectrum. Everybody's going to get on board with our greater freedoms and pushing back against all this postmodern nonsense. By the way, if anybody is on Substack, because we're streaming to Substack as well, because I do have some videos I want to share in this one, and I'm still testing this whole thing out. Just throw up a comment, just a hi. It doesn't matter. I just want to see if it is working. I can see the YouTube comments are coming through. Local comments come through. It's just I don't know. It's just the way that this system is designed. I'm using the Rumble encoder as opposed to OBS. I may switch back to OBS, which I've used in the past, but just want something simple. Life is too complicated, and with every little bit of complexity, you exponentially increase the probability that things will fail, and they'll fail every time when you click go live. So please, in the name of reciprocity, either like, share, or subscribe, just one or the other. And why are we here? We're here today just to hang out, just to have coffee, and we got an opportunity where you've now got a friend online that thinks very similar to you, maybe not exactly, but I'm going to do my best for us to have a positive conversation about all the nonsense. Forget all the noise from the media and the pundits that are all scripted and rehearsed. This is us just chilling out and hanging out. Same sort of spirit I was trying to build around the trucker convoy, where it was a positive experience of people coming together. And we're trying, I think we can do the same thing here. And, partially inspired by, I had been doing this for a couple of years sporadically, right? But, partially motivated or inspired by the passing of Scott Adams, whom, by the way, I am going to be more regularly on with the Scott Adams School. We'll announce something very shortly. I've been on for a few times, and they are great. And we're all trying to do, very similar. We're trying to take, I guess, aspects of Scott's contribution to the world and do our best to try to continue with it. And I'm going to do my best as well for all of you. So, wait, Heidi, where are you? Hola from Ivermere. Where's that? I don't know where that is, Heidi. ¿Dónde es? No conozco ese lugar. Anyways, but let me know. I'm curious to know. So, lots is going on in the world. It's been a fun couple of days. I think that, by the way, I don't know if any of you had this experience, but did you wake up groggy this morning? Yeah, I woke up late. Unusually, I woke up at 6:30 this morning. And I thought, well, I guess maybe I didn't set my alarm, although it's auto set. So I don't know why it didn't go on, or I didn't hear it, which is very rare for me. And it just felt like, I don't know, something was wrong. And then I realized, oh, yes, that's it's daylight savings time. And I don't know about you, but I remember when I was a kid, people would complain when they were older, you're losing an hour of sleep. It's like, old people, what's the matter with you? I guess I'm the old person now. I don't know. Did you have that experience, right? Like I woke up late. I felt like I was subjected to listening to some blackface Trudeau Carney bullshit. And I was just like, oh my God, kill me, just killing brain cells. Please, I gotta die right now. Anyways, I'm going to be on a panel in Florida it's not next week, it's the beginning of the following week. I'm also going to be doing a series of podcasts on the other side, on the west coast of Florida shortly after. That will all be released soon. I'll let you know when that's done. We're doing a whole lengthy series on, they're doing a series on myself and a bunch of stuff. So some people ask where I'm going to be in Florida, because as we know, there are a lot of Canadians that are frequently in Florida. And the short answer is I'm going to be, I guess, everywhere. Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Palm Beach for sure. Yeah, Fort Lauderdale for sure, Naples, Tampa. I may be in Fort Myers as well. I just don't know if I can. I'm trying to squeeze it in to see some people there. So yeah, I'm going to be all over. So if you are in Florida, and I haven't looked if there's any sort of Bitcoin meetups that I sometimes go to, I'm going to talk to Mel, see if she's got one. If there are any Bitcoin meetups at Miami Beach, I might end up there as a surprise. I might not. Well, I guess it's not a surprise. Well, no, it still is. But yeah, so that's the answer to people asking where I'm going to be in Florida. I'm going to be all over. And then shortly after, I'll start talking about this soon. I'll be in Ireland. So for anybody, Ireland and possibly the UK, I haven't figured that out, or I may go somewhere else. There's a couple of things in play, but I will let you know that soon as well. And by the way, tonight, 8 p.m., Not on Record. Check it out. That is one of the podcasts that I produce. And then we have episode 64 of Open College with Stephen Hicks, which is in queue. I haven't figured out what date we're going to release it, but we're going to release it soon. Very relevant to what's going on today, because Stephen has been doing presentations warning about Alexander Dugin for many years. And I posted one of his, Stephen is, he's a doctor of philosophy. So it's very academic in terms of his presentation, but very enlightening. And he's amazing. If you don't know Stephen Hicks or follow Stephen Hicks, you should. What's interesting about his podcast is it starts off very, very calm, maybe even more calm than me, definitely more calm than me. And sorry, I have energy. It's just the way it is. But he starts off very calm, and he starts mapping you down a road, and you're thinking, where's he going with this? Where's he going with this? Where's he going with this? And then, boom, I don't know, midway through sometimes it's 3/4 of the way through, then he grabs you, and you realize, oh, now I see how all of this fits together. He's quite amazing. So I encourage you to check out Stephen Hicks on X and on Twitter. His handle is at SRC Hicks. And if you type his name in YouTube, you'll find him just all over the place, right? But anyways, speaking of academics, I don't know if you saw just very briefly, Sam Harris was, on his podcast, they posted an excerpt of him talking about Iran and basically singing Trump's praises on Iran. So that's now Iran and Venezuela, two of the biggest problems over the past many decades in the world. And we also know Cuba is on the pipeline. We're going to talk about it in the future in a little bit. But it's interesting to watch Sam. And this is, Scott would say this is the hypnotist filter. It's interesting to watch him praise as much as he can, and it pains him, Trump on what he's done on Iran and on Venezuela. And you think, okay, finally he's understanding. Finally. And then, nope, full Trump derangement syndrome. Then he starts doubling down on what a horrible person he is and how much he hates him and all that sort of stuff. And you think, like, at what point do you realize the rest of us do not care if he's a nice person or not? That's completely irrelevant. What we care about is he effective at solving problems. We don't need a nice personality to solve problems. But anyways, by the way, does anybody know if Sam Harris is into Bitcoin? I'm just curious if he's talked about it. Jess, good morning, Jess. Pound that like button, Jess. That's as Adam Meister likes to say. Maureen says, I listened to Stephen last night. He's amazing. Well, thank you very much. Yeah, Stephen is absolutely brilliant. I just sent him a message this morning with a deal with talk about some stuff moving forward. But yeah, he's absolutely great. Hold on, let me just see if I remember to put this in here. Okay, I have a link in here. I'm going to have to post in a bit. Okay, so just in review, I don't know, we talked a little about Melissa Wong, the, I believe, political entryist, likely tied to the CCP, who has been slut-shaming women in Iran who have been celebrating their freedom. Has that died down yet? Because I noticed there's a lot of Iranian women that don't give two Fs, and they keep posting their dancing videos. And you know what? God bless them. Jess, I'm banned from on X awaiting appeal. Why? See, Jess, I noticed you've had that happen a few times. We'll discuss in the Discord. You know what? If you can get a snapshot of your post, and let me see if I can figure out what is triggering the algorithm to do that to you. Because there's usually, remember, it's all automated. So there's something in what you posted that might have it's not that what you posted is incorrect, but there's certain, remember, these bots often don't understand language contextually. And so they just see certain words or certain patterns of words, and they trigger and shut you down. And it's not necessarily intentional. I don't think it is, but whatever. Somebody asked me to expand on Steve Bannon and the trucker convoy, and when I was asked to reach out to him and to go on his thing, I explained that last time that Steve Bannon's very, very smart. He's very, very talented. He's a very smart guy. It's a little bit disappointing, the turn that he's taken in the Dugin approach. I'm even one of those, with the Epstein rebranding, his trying to rebrand Epstein's reputation. I'm of two minds of it. One's like, okay, that's kind of a dirtbag thing, but at the end of the day, you're going to be PR, you're going to be PR. It doesn't mean you like your clients, and everybody's got bills to pay. You get bills to pay, and so does he. And I know he's had some financial struggles as well. So maybe it's out of desperation. Who knows, right? I don't know his motivations. But anyways, so all I'll say is I needed to reach regular people. Not, we're very good at doing this on the conservative side. On the conservative side, they're very good at doing two things, actually. They're very good at stabbing their young in the back, and they're also very good at building an echo chamber where you only talk to yourself. And I think that's common for all, let's say, political hobbyists. The people that get addicted to politics, it becomes all their entire life. It's a sickness. It's like a heroin sickness. And I see that in a lot of people. It's just, all right. Again, as Scott would say, the hypnotist filter, right? But I needed to reach everybody, and which was the reason we did the messaging that we did, and we banned the fake news media from all our press conferences. And it was so effective that, I even got 2 free chiropractor sessions for free. Why? Because my friend who was living in Ottawa, this is how I know the people in Ottawa who are not tied to politics. Most of them were on our side. They were just quiet, didn't want to be harassed by the political nerds. But so she was living in Ottawa at the time, and she had a chiropractor there that I'd never been to a chiropractor, and she took me to him. And he was Sikh, really nice guy, and he was so super enthusiastic about the trucker convoy. He brought his entire family, he brought his kids and his wife down to the trucker convoy regularly. Like he said, we tried to make it a weekly thing. When they had some time, they would go out, take the kids down, and see the truckers and get some food and play in the bouncy castles that were quite famous. And so he told me most of his friends and most of his family were all supportive of the trucker convoy, and with the exception of a few people that didn't live in Ottawa, right? They just saw what was on communist broadcasting crap, the CBC. I say that because of what Yuri Bezmenov discovered there, so that's not me being hyperbolic. And he said, yeah, aside from 1 or 2 fringe weirdos, he said, everybody I know is like super enthusiastic and feels such gratitude for that protest at the time. So that's kind of why I veered away from the kind of extreme talking to ourselves and tried to reach people beyond our echo chamber, right? Maureen says, you guys are talking about the Discord. Yeah, we're gonna work on that. And by the way, I just created, Jess, a Discord channel. I'll work on that. It was kind of a feed on all of these episodes for you guys to talk about it, for us all to back and forth, because I'm kind of looking for your ideas. I have no shortage of ideas of things to talk about at all. but maybe you have some things you want to throw in there as well. All right, so first, today we're going to talk about SciPost. SciPost is usually it's Eric Dolan, Scott Adams' favorite blogger, who always posted the most obvious stories in the world, and that seems to be consistent amongst a lot of SciPost. I think there might be money laundering involved, and I've explained that many people always ask why are these studies that explain the obvious, why is so much money going to them? And I think that's just a way for universities to get a hold of endowment money without really an excuse to use it, right? But anyways, SciPost, and there's a story from Karina Petrova. And by the way, Karina Petrova has a very pretty name. Don't you think so? I think that's a very pretty name. And Karina has an article saying, dating and this is the title of the article. Dating and breakups take heavy emotional toll on adolescent mental health. Yes. I don't think it's just adolescent mental health. I think dating takes a toll on anybody mentally who is emotionally, right? And it goes on to say the research found that starting a relationship or going through a breakup raised the odds of suicidal behaviors, highlighting a clear need for better emotional support for teens. And I don't know if it's biased towards men or women, because I found this throughout my dating life that women, they will tend to go into deep depression, whereas men go to frustration and anger. So I think she's trying to oversell. I think this study is trying to oversell maybe bouts of sadness and depression as suicide. I think that's a little bit loaded, in my opinion. And it goes on to say adolescents bring a sudden rush of physical and emotional changes. Really, adolescence brings a sudden rush of physical and emotional changes. Who knew that? Teenagers are figuring out who they are and how they fit into the social world around them. The rocky transition can make them particularly vulnerable to a wide variety of mental struggles. Really? Who doesn't know that? I'm assuming everybody has been a teenager at some point. Many of you have children at some point. I mean, I saw this ad nauseum on the university campus when my business was there. And I think this is why you're seeing the foreign invaders are doing their best to try to manipulate younger people on university campuses, because they're the most susceptible to manipulation for this reason. So I think really we kind of all knew this. But there you go. Karina Petrova's got a very pretty name. All right, let's start with, which should we start? Should we start with this or this first? So we're going to, I guess the U.S. has sent a third aircraft carrier to the region. It is the George H.W. Bush, and that's the third one in the region. That's into the Persian Gulf. And what does that tell you? That tells you there's approximately 280 American aircraft, in the region. Plus, and let's not forget the bombers that would do 37-hour sorties from the U.S., fly over to Iran, bomb the crap out of the Iranian infrastructure, the IRGC infrastructure, and then fly back. So I think I think we can conclude that the IRGC and the Islamist terrorists that have hijacked that country, they're pretty screwed. They're pretty screwed at this point. I might be wrong. Maybe that's hyperbole, but that's kind of how. Hold on a second. Let's turn that off. Okay, I'm trying to click on all the other feeds to see if I can see everybody's comments everywhere, and there's a problem. Okay, I can get the Twitter ones. I can't get the Substack ones. So yeah, I'll figure this out. Maybe I'll repost everything to Substack when I'm done. Ben, I know you have no shortage of opinions and ideas, and yes, discussing Discord, trying to find more people that think I'm funny. Humor is a lonely world sometimes. No, I think you have a great sense of humor, and there's a reason for that. We'll talk a little bit about that in a bit. I'll get to that. That's kind of related to the next thing. So I think the IRGC is screwed, and they I can expand a little bit up among that in a second, but yeah, it's quite interesting what's going on right now. So we'll see. All right, so on that topic of humor, well, I guess we can touch on this now, just because you brought it up. So it's really frustrating that here. Let me just get this link and set it up because I'm going to be trying something in a second. Trying all these things, it's going to be. We're eventually going to get a well-oiled machine out of this thing. Yeah, okay, thank God I got that sorted out. All right, so the Trump, what people I think misunderstand is people understand. There are people understand, but I mean people on the left, people on the who have been trapped into the ideological echo chamber of the suspension of critical thinking, which is what you're seeing on the left. And I know I can see that because I'm now talking to some of them gently, carefully, and I do have a couple of friends who are very hardcore Democrats in the U.S. and just we don't talk much about politics, but I'll just kind of probe them. This is why I have a good sense of how they view the world. But I think what they're missing is Trump really is the greatest comedian in politics. Maybe that's what they miss. Is they miss they're not understanding the show. They don't understand what they're watching. It's absolutely hysterical. And I came across this, which is from several years ago, and it's Trump. It's so good. It's just so good. I had to share this with all of you. And let me change screens is here, and I'm going to share this. This just goes to show the degree not only of his sense of humor, but understanding the average person. That's why I'm trying to understand the average leftist, right? Because when you understand the other side, then you can choose how you want to communicate. Do you want to pace and lead them? Do you want to enter their frame or not? And Trump clearly decides that's not the strategy for him because politics is a blood sport. Yeah, Maureen says Trump is hilarious. So this was great. This was absolutely, you might have seen this, Maureen, but I remember this from many years ago and I stumbled across it again. Let me just cue this up, and it says basically that from a post that any Trump speech can be turned into a Seinfeld bit. Let's take a look at this and let's see what it looks like. Here, we've got it here. Yeah, here we are. Let me just make that a little bit. All right, let's play this here. If you haven't heard this, you're gonna love it. It's I think it's just apropos.
They want to ban straws. Has anybody ever tried those paper straws? They're not working too good, right? Has anybody ever tried, seriously, the new straw is made out of paper, right? It disintegrates as you drink it. If you have a nice tie like this tie, this would have no chance.
Notice he grabs the tie, holds it visual, right? Like these are all persuasion tactics. It's so good.
By the time you get finished, the straw is totally disintegrated. Does anybody walk around with a plastic straw? Because it's not bad. You know, you whip it out, boom, boom. You never had to do that. So they want to ban straws. I said, oh, really? What about the cart? What about the plate? What about the knives and the spoons that are plastic? Oh, they're okay. But the straws we got to ban.
Like, I've posted on that many times in the past, right? On Instagram. You're going to... I remember particularly Subway that I had, plastic straw, but the cup was plastic, the top was plastic, the bag was plastic, everything was plastic, but the straw. I mean, that just shows the stupidity of the ideologues on the other side. But how accurate is that? And what he's doing is he's mirroring what we all think, what anyone with common sense would think. And I think that's one of the reasons he's so effective and resonates with so many people. And it makes the leftists crazy because the leftists seem to understand nothing about human behavior or human motivation. So then things went on a little bit this past week. We had some in the United States, we had some primaries. And there were 32 primaries in the United States, in the Republican Party. Well, I guess the primaries also for the Democrats, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember. Anyways, that's not the point. The point is, of the 32 endorsements that Trump had put forward, let me see if I can, have to do this one again. Which one is it? It is, I think it's this one. Yeah. Of the 32 endorsements Every single one of them had won their primary. Every single Trump endorsement won the primary. But what is the best part? What is the best part of all of this? Check this out. Not only is it he swept every endorsement, but what did he use? What did Trump use for the endorsement picture, right? So whenever you do, it's called lit when you're in a campaign, they'll send you some lit, they'll send you some digital stuff to put in your campaign. And when you get an endorsement, it's a picture of Trump and you, and Donald Trump endorses ABC candidate. What picture did Trump use? Check it out. He used the mugshot. He used the mugshot for his endorsement picture. Talk about making the other side lose their minds. He used the mugshot that they created as his endorsement picture. Now, not only is that the funniest thing you'll ever see, but it's also a persuasion tactic, and people don't realize. It's called absorb and amplify, right? Somebody tries to attack you. You can't have an argument with somebody who is, if somebody's attacking you, you can't have an argument with somebody you agree with, right? When you agree with them. And that's what he's doing. It is comical. It's absorb and amplify. It removes any momentum that the other side would have that's trying to attack him and slips them into cognitive dissonance. That's why he has his mugshot up in the Oval Office. He understands this about people. I don't know if he was ever formally trained in this stuff. According to Scott Adams, he wasn't. It seems obvious to him. He's kind of a natural. But the guy uses the mugshot for his endorsement. So good. Now, why is that a problem? Because the problem for many people in politics on all sides, because in politics, there's this idea that 30% of people don't have a sense of humor, and 100% of them are in politics. That in politics, I have never met such a, not everybody, of course. There's always some good people there for sure. But I'd say the majority of people, especially on the other side, you talk about just some miserable, sour losers. That's what it kind of it draws into politics, right? The people who are extremely ambitious and very lazy and think they can just use people to build themselves into a life of wealth. I mean, that's Gavin Newsom, isn't it? Right? He's very ambitious and he's very lazy, which is why everything he touches turns to crap. But this is why it's so effective, and this is why people love him so much. And what's amazing is the left-wing comedians that cannot understand they're watching the comedy show. I just showed you the bit with the straws and the fact that he used his mugshot as the endorsement. Can you imagine being like one of those like old school, traditional, uptight politicians, conservative type politicians, and you get the lit and your endorsement, you're like, great, I got the endorsement. I'm going to put up my website. Wait, it's the mugshot. No, I can't put that. Watching them have a heart attack. That is what strength is. That's the I don't care frame. That's a frame that I have and people like us have. When Scott Adams talked about this a number of times, that it is a superpower if you cannot be embarrassed. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, it is. People in politics get very afraid of you if you're one of those people that just doesn't care and cannot get embarrassed. They see that as a threat because it doesn't matter what smear or libel they throw at you. When you just don't care, you just absorb it, then they know there's no way for them to defeat you because that's their entire business. Their entire business is smear campaigns and whisper campaigns. And that's how these cockroaches all kind of climb the ladder. I'm not talking about the good people in politics, by the way. I'm just talking about the garbage, which is, I don't know, 70% maybe, something like that. But anyways, there's your persuasion lesson around Trump for today. Absorb and amplify. I better not have that start beeping in a second. I'm going to have to walk away in a second. All right, Cuba. My microwave is beeping. Cuba. So Cuba apparently has had some Some problems lately, as we know, as we're discussing, that they're running out of fuel. They cannot fuel any airplanes. So you can fly into the Cuba, but you can't fly out. It's kind of like Hotel California, aviation style, right? They also have no diesel for agricultural machines. They have very limited gasoline and oil supplies, which is dwindling. So that's why it's been rationed. And the latest is, as of yesterday, Havana, which is the capital, which would have the most in terms of resources and access to energy, Havana has had no electricity for 60 hours, as opposed to yesterday. I guess now it's 72, maybe close to 80 hours with no electricity. And we've seen, apparently there's now protests starting in the streets of Havana. Now, Trump has repeatedly said Cuba, he's saying this all the time now. And by the way, I think I called this 3 or 4 months ago. Whenever Venezuela was done, I think it was the day that they got Maduro, I said, Cuba's next. Well, here we are. He's repeatedly saying Cuba is going to fall. And he has Marco Rubio on it. And Marco Rubio, as I'm sure all of you know, very skilled, brilliant, and the descendant of Cuban exiles. I don't think he was born in Cuba. I think he was born in the U.S., but his family's Cuban, like so many people in Miami. In Miami, there's almost 1 million Cuban dissidents that live in Miami. So yeah, there's a whole lot of momentum for this, and it's so good to see. You know, retribution is so beautiful to watch sometimes. I wish people in the United States and Canada had more exposure to Latin American business culture and Latin American culture broadly. Yes, many of the countries, their cultures are different, and that's the other thing. We always try to, I know some of the streamers, they jokingly say everything is Mexico just to troll people. But, and that's funny, but they're all different. They're all very different. They have different customs. The language is different. Colombia probably has the most formal version of Spanish in the region. Argentina has the most traditional version of Spanish. How they dress is different. How you dress in Panama, where it's like 1 million degrees every day, is very different than how you're going to dress when you live in Bogota. Because most Latin American cities, the big ones, the capitals, most of them are cold. They're not actually warm cities. They're like Bogota is 18 degrees most days of the year, between 12 and 18 degrees, which is what is that, like 50 to 60 degrees Fahrenheit, something like that. So I just wish people understood how much more formal and conservative Latin America is. And I think the left and central casting in the U.S. tries to sell people a vision of what Latinos are, which is the complete opposite of Latin America. Latin America is not Puerto Rico, and even Puerto Rico's business culture is not Puerto Rico, the Puerto Rico that you're sold in American media. And I'm hoping this alliance amongst the Western Hemisphere will teach people just how similar Latin American culture is to North America, to Canada, the US, and all that sort of stuff, right? I mentioned before Jihad Watch, the importance of checking out Jihad Watch, using it as a source of news. Robert Spencer, who runs Jihad Watch, has been running it for many, many years, and he's brilliant. His team is brilliant. They have very important framing on the world as we're going through this cultural attack on the West and where it's coming from. He deals with one particular aspect. Usually he'll touch on the Chinese and the communist stuff when it's relevant, but he focuses, his area of expertise is the collectivist Islamists, the extremists that are here trying to take over and destroy the West from within and turn it into a Sharia hellhole. All the people who need to immediately be deported either back to their own country or deported to Guantanamo. I would prefer the second, to be honest. But he had an article here on the Washington Post, and this is funny. This was the Washington Post's article on Khamenei. Everybody tells me it's funny with Iranians. They'll tell me, no. It's not pronounced Khamenei. It's pronounced Khamenei. Like, okay, I'm not doing this. I don't care his name. I just don't care. But this is how the Washington Post covered the death, and can we call it an assassination? I think we could, because I think certain leaders should be aware that that chess piece is on the table. The assassination chess piece is now permanently going to be there if you start behaving like this. And it says the article says, with a bushy white beard and easy smile, Ayatollah Khamenei cut a more avuncular figure. I can't, is that a miss? I might have typed something wrong, whatever. Anyways, he was a figure in the public that has perpetually scowling, but much more revered mentor. He's a revered mentor, is he? And he was known to be fond of Persian poetry and classic Western novels, especially Victor Hugo's Les Miserables. That is what the Washington Post says about this murderous dictator. That's what they say, that he likes Persian poetry and classic Western novels. Missed the part where they executed in mass 35,000 Iranians just a few weeks ago. And this was by William Brannigan. Is that how you pronounce his name? Brannigan? Anyways, he's the one who wrote this. And this is why I like to say friends don't like friends. Friends don't like friends. Read the fake news media, right? Don't let your friends read that stuff because it kills brain cells more than drugs and more than alcohol. It really makes you stupid. And so there's this thing I posted from a girl on Instagram who did this great video. I think I pulled it up here. And I think this communicates it best for everybody, that her take on the Washington Post. And let me play this for you because I think this is effective in communicating what is the problem with the Washington Post and the legacy media. She really hits the nail on the head here, all right?
Passed away quietly in An Austrian-born public servant and amateur artist passed away quietly in Berlin due to a self-inflicted wound. A mustachioed...
By the way, I'm going to have to start it again. I can't pause this one. This is what's called reframing. I'll play it the whole way through. Look for the tactic of reframing to the positive of each one of them. So the first one, if you didn't see that was Adolf Hitler.
Passed away quietly in Berlin. An Austrian-born public servant and amateur artist passed away quietly in Berlin due to a self-inflicted wound. A mustachioed, avuncular team builder known for his commitment to workforce relocation initiatives and surprise performance reviews. A visionary agricultural reformer who popularized the Zhongshan suit. A career palace advisor who briefly streamlined Agrabah's leadership through hypnotic negotiations. A passionate advocate for organizational efficiency within the Galactic Empire. An ambitious alumnus of Hogwarts who pursued innovative soul fragmentation strategies and led a passionate pureblood advocacy group. An Austrian...
So you get the point. So the last two were Voldemort and Darth Vader. And this is the thing. The reason that is so funny is because it's 100% accurate. That's exactly what they do. And that's exactly what they did with Khamenei, whatever the idiot's name is, right? They don't focus on the mass amount of death that he created a policy that if a woman is to be sentenced to death and she is a virgin, she can be raped, and that way when she is stoned to death, she won't go to heaven. That's the type of psychopathy of these maniacs that the U.S. is now vaporizing in Iran, and God bless them for it. Thank you. God bless them for this strength and for killing these monkeys, because they're worse than monkeys. They're terrible. But describing Hitler as an inspiring painter and great auditor who inspired a nation, I love it. Now you understand why I banned the legacy media from all Freedom Convoy press conferences. That's why. That's exactly why. And despite the fact that some political idiots let them in, and you noticed I think there was one press conference that I wasn't there, that they let the legacy media in, And that's the only licensed B-roll that the legacy media has, that they could go on ongoing smear attacks of the trucker protests. And that's why, because I understand media and licensing and how it all works, you idiots. That's why I wanted them nowhere near the trucker convoy. And luckily, that's why they keep B-rolling this same video over and over and over and over again, because they don't have any digital assets that they could use to smear us. But there's another indication that the people who are supposed to be on our side on the inside were actually there to sabotage us. But, you know, I've talked about that ad nauseum in previous live streams. Maybe we'll get into that in the future, or maybe we'll just kind of move on. But anyways, I got to tell you, there's a lot of secrets I'll be taking to the grave on political stuff that I've been involved in that people don't know. But what are you going to do, right? Maureen, I'm single too. Must be fab. You're awesome. Journalism programs have gone to S everywhere. It's a publicist now. Yeah, they're all PR agents. They're all publicists, right? This is why you're seeing that wave of maniacs that are following the Dugan line, because that's where the money is, because they're PR agents. Megyn Kelly's not a journalist. She never was a journalist. She's a PR agent that could be a smear merchant, and that's what she's turned into. And Tucker and the rest of them. They are not journalists, right? All right, this I love. Jewish space lasers. Remember the Jewish space lasers? So that's something that came up many years ago from, what's her name? Marjorie Taylor Greene. She posted something about Jewish space lasers like 4 or 5 years ago, and everyone's like, what was this chick smoking crack? Well, good news. The Jewish space lasers are real. And Israel has put into use the Jewish, I think we should be calling them Jewish space lasers. Remember, absorb and amplify. I think we should be, I really think we should. But the point is, those Jewish space lasers have been put into use in the current conflict around Iran. And I guess they work, right? And this is what I'm thinking, and kind of the title of this episode. Why is it? Like, I couldn't help but notice Allah seems to be on the side of the Americans and the Jews. Why is Allah always helping the Americans and the Jews? I couldn't help notice that, right? Did you notice that too? That Israel has all this amazing technology and they share that technology with the United States and vice versa. Where's Allah? Isn't Allah supposed to be ensuring that, you know, the Mujahideen are the ones that have Allah's back? Because I, from my standpoint, you know, from what's happened in 8 days, they just obliterated all the Iranian leadership and all the mullahs. It sure does seem like Allah is on the side of the Jews and the Americans. It's really hysterical to watch that, right? And by the way, this is an excellent cognitive dissonance test, is to ask people who, you know, the Free Palpatine morons, you go to one of their rallies. They're having rallies all over the place today, right? They're just like all the Soros rallies and stuff. They're funded with foreign terrorist money, and it's laundered through a network of NGOs that distributes the money to mosques, that pays people, you know, $100 a day to bring their family out and cheer death to America and death to the Jews. That's what they're trying to do. So we know how this has been going. This racket's been going on for a long time. It's all laundered terrorist money. They all need to be deported either back to their country or to Guantanamo and just left there, just like in El Salvador. They need to have the El Salvador treatment. That's the only thing that they'll understand and they'll fix, right? But this is a good cognitive dissonance test, to go to one of those rallies and just ask any one of them, just really, really polite, really calm. I'm just confused. Like, I don't really know much about the Middle East and all that sort of stuff. And I understand you're all upset, and I get that. And say, why is Allah on the side of the Jews and the Americans? Because he seems to be just helping the Jews and the Americans. I thought Allah is supposed to be on your side. Watch them go crazy. But you have to be smooth. You have to be calm and polite. You can't attack them. You know, voice and tonality are your friend if you understand you need to keep it calm. But yeah, Jewish space lasers. And ask them about why did the Jews have space lasers when Allah is supposed to give them to you, right? Anyways, so the Trump administration, I think it was Israel actually, that bombed Iran's total oil reserves. Uh-oh, I guess they didn't want the oil. And why would they? You know, the United States is self-sufficient in oil, and now they have Venezuela's oil. They don't need any more oil. They got more than that's. It's amazing, and this shows the degree of brainwashing that and how much it can stick in the subconscious. That the no blood for oil protests from the first Iraq war, which was very short as well, is so entrenched in the minds of certain people with a certain political ideology, the ideologues, that they can only see the world with those lens. Everything is Iraq, everything is no blood for oil, right? It's their magic answer. And you'll find a lot of linear thinkers or very simplistic thinkers are like that. They don't understand the complexity of the world. That's why they gravitate to the simplest and most easiest and stupidest conspiracy theory, because they want magic answers for everything because they're kind of low IQ. They don't realize it. They think they're brilliant, but they're just not well educated. And they need a simplistic answer for anything, any sort of complexity. When you try to tell them to it, you can see their eyes just glaze over and they turn off because they cannot process that. So the latest, the Brigadier General Abbas al-Mahamoudania, whatever, Ahmed something, the commander of the Tehran police force, who gave the orders to shoot and kill hundreds of protesters, was eliminated in airstrikes by the American and Israeli Air Force. So now they're going after police officers because there's no one left, right? Who's left? No, you know, I'd hate to be a janitor for the RGC because at some point you're going to be the pecking order after you as well, right? But once again, where is Allah? Right? Why does Allah keep helping the Jews and America? Why? And by the way, I keep saying the Jews because I know this will piss people off, but they keep helping Israel and the Jews and America, to be more precise and clear, because not all Israelis are Jews, right? What's 20% of the country are not Jewish. I'm going to play a video for you that's kind of related to this, that is related to the strength of Trump and the administration. And I want to know your thoughts on this. This is pretty wild. Let me see if I can find this this video. I uploaded it here somewhere. Yeah, there it is. Okay. I uploaded it. I called it Holy Crap. All right, we're going to go to flip over now this video here. You see why I labeled it Holy Crap? You see that? Here, let me play it one more time because you weren't prepared for that. I know that. Watch. So yeah, I think we can all agree Trump ain't screwing around. Do you know what that is? I know what that is. I don't want to spoil it by giving you the details, but just go back and play this. Put some headphones on and listen to that. I posted on the some of my feeds as well. That's pretty serious. We ain't screwing around, right? Show that to some of the Free Palpatine protesters. Right? When War of the Worlds is coming. It's so good. Anyways, let's see. I'm sorry, I've been missing all of your comments. And Jess, wow, boom. Yeah, wow, boom. We ain't screwing around anymore. It's no longer peace through weakness. It is peace through strength. So, Maureen says, the first year I went to Kuwait, I stayed in Tehran for a week in 1978. It's funny, a friend of mine who was in Iran reporting on the revolution in 79. So when I flew in the plane in front of me on the runway was, oh, wow, the plane in front of you was hijacked. Welcome to the Middle East. I think that's something the Palpatinians created. Weren't they the first ones to start hijacking people? Hijacking airplanes. So that's kind of one of the main contributions from that culture that doesn't exist. But get into that another time, I guess. So there's some stuff that's been going on, and I'll just get through these two things pretty quickly. We'll talk more about this after because we touched on it yesterday. This post, the idea of narrative laundering and click farms. This was a post from @Resistor on X, and the post reads negative laundering, framing Russia and Iran as the good guys, broken with the globalists, in quotation marks. And the framing the Anglo-American alliance, NATO, as the evil globalist, referring to our friend Dugin, or a Duginism is how we should be discussing it. We touched a little bit on it earlier and yesterday, obviously. So it's got a interview, two people talking. In this case, it was Candace Ovens and Alex Jones, and who are parroting Duginism philosophy. It's a long thread, but can you see it now? Can you start to, when I say Candace Ovens and Alex Jones are parroting Duginism philosophy? Firstly, can you understand why understanding philosophy is so important? I never really bought into that until when I had my business on the university campus. I became, very close acquaintances with one of the philosophy professors, who's kind of a lefty guy, but like a reasonable one. I disagree with a lot of stuff, but he was very much an old school free speech kind of lefty guy, liked to hear ideas he disagreed with. And we just had excellent long conversations. And sometimes you have the best conversations with people who are well schooled in philosophy. Learned a lot from him. Didn't agree with a lot of his takes, but understood why he would come to those conclusions. But can you see it now? When I say Alex Jones and Candace Ovens are parroting Duginism, the same podcasters over and over, do you think this is a coincidence? Could this be a coincidence? Could this be something else? Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, Fed Dave Smith, Megyn Kelly, the list goes on. Why is it always the same people over and over again? Why? Why are those the people who keep getting fed on your online threads, whether it's X or other platforms? You know how many times I have, many of them, muted them, blocked them, whatever, they still pop up on my threads, no matter if I mute them or block them. And that's not Elon Musk's team. That's people trying to manipulate Twitter and the Twitter algorithm, how it picks up information. It's the same people over and over and over again. Why? That's not a coincidence, right? Remember the idea I talked about captured media, that we've switched from an era of legacy media and alternative media, and the people that were involved in capturing legacy media now extended that to alternative media to capture them. This is why you see recycling of the same people over and over again. Now you know why it's the same small group of, quote, influencers who are constantly amplified and amplifying each other. None of their audiences are real. Did you know that? Did you know 80% of their audiences are click farms? Think about that. 80% of their audiences are click farms. You know what I mean by that? Do you know what a click farm is? Some of you may know, you might have seen those videos online from China where there's like a wall of cell phones and they're plugged into one computer that just they'll mass distribute a message, and 50 accounts will start parroting through some sort of API the same message. It'll broadcast out, and it's a persuasion tactic, right? The tactic is actually called social proof, that they're trying to manipulate social proof digitally, that if you see 100 accounts all at once agree on the same thing or reporting on the same thing, it must be true. But it's not. It's just social proof, digital social proof at scale, or at least the attempt to do so. I first learned about click farms and how they work in 2015, I think it was, from a Canadian member of parliament who was an expert on Russia, particularly. And he was explaining to me, because he speaks Russian, he was in Russia and all that stuff. He's not Russian himself, but he was explaining to me that he would go to Russia and he's actually seen the click farms and how they operate. And he's like, it's not a guy in an apartment building. Sorry, it's not a guy in an apartment. He said it's an entire complex, like an entire city blocks of buildings, office buildings, of people who are in there that are, and this was in 2015. Facebook was the big platform at that point that was manipulating people, right? But there are people, hundreds of people in these massive compounds that are doing exactly this in Russia, trying to manipulate and persuade people in the West, because that's all they have. There's such a weak, pathetic, irrelevant nation. It's tiny. Remember I said, when you think of Canada, look at the map of the world and imagine, for scale, Singapore. That's what you should see Canada as. Canada is, in terms of influence, economics, what's it called, population, that you have to see it as a very small nation, right? It's the same thing for Russia. Like, when you look at Russia, think of Cuba. Like, that's how small it is. It's a massive landmass because it's frozen. It's ice, right? It's not relevant. And when you understand that framing of the world, you understand how weak these places are. And the only thing they can do is this kind of warfare. It's the only thing they engage. They're on their last breath. And I think Russia's probably going to collapse after Putin. It's the only thing that can happen. Or you're going to have some Islamist warlord that takes over Russia. So we better take out those nukes, even if they're garbage and falling apart. I'm willing to bet they've already been raided for whatever scrap metal they had or whatever plutonium was needed or something. I'm willing to bet there's nothing left of them anyways. But just to be, cause for concern, right? But the point is, all these influencers that you're watching that are trying to sow this artificial division in the West, which we know is not artificial, because 98, in some poll, 98% of Republicans agree with Trump. Well, that's beyond 100%, because 100% is 75%. As we know, the Scott Adams bit, which is so true, that 25% of people will always get a question, the most obvious questions wrong on a survey. So that's 100% of people that are on board. Republicans are on board with Trump and what he's doing. 100%. That is unreal in the world of politics, right? So these people, their audiences are a fraction of what you think they are. A fraction, a mere fraction. My guess is 20%, because they're doing the exact same tactic and strategy that Vice News did, right? Inflating the click counts, giving a monetized value of those click counts, dividing it out and saying this is the value of my platform, but it's nowhere near that. And the Daily Wire, by contrast, their views are real, which is why the Daily Wire is always being attacked by them, right? Because they are a fraction, a mere fraction of Daily Wire traffic. So anytime you see these people, this is why I'm trying to, I don't pay a lot of attention to them. Actually, I don't think I've mentioned Megyn Kelly, except she came up today because she's going to be speaking at the Dugan conference like a sellout whore. And that's it. That's the only reason I mentioned her. But she has no audience. She's got nothing, right? Jess says, I'm staying in my apartment. What, you didn't like that? You didn't like that War of the Worlds video? Here, let me play it again. Here's just a signal to everybody who challenges and gives attitude to Trump that this is how serious he is. Yeah, Daddy's home. No more screwing around. Daddy's not putting up with your BS anymore, right? Anyways, oh wait, I wonder if I can, hold on, let me just test something. Oh yeah, I can do that. I don't have to flip back and forth. Okay, fine. You want to see one more time? No, it's just too many times. That thing cracked me up. Maureen says, yeah, bot farms. Yep. Yeah, that's what they are. There's a very good video from Veritasium from, I don't know, maybe 8-10 years ago, explaining click farms and that it became a financial problem for Facebook many years ago. And that's when a lot of people in the YouTube world started abandoning Facebook. And that's why Facebook is a ghost town. And I've explained in a previous stream, what keeps Facebook alive is the fact that Facebook and WhatsApp are given for free in the third world. But anyways, okay, so related to this whole click farm narrative nonsense, Dugan, as we see, has become very popular. I wonder why that is. It seems everyone has picked up on Dugan finally, which is good. I hope I did my part in this. But as I mentioned, Stephen Hicks has been talking about Dugan for many years. And that's from the academic philosophical perspective. He is a professor of philosophy. So he's super smart. If you read his emails, you understand how smart he is, and how he uses language. It's quite amazing. But anyways, with Dugan, I would say he's a mentally insane madman who admired both Stalin and Hitler. I think that's a good way to describe him. And they put a veil of, oh, I'm Christian and whatever. No, he's full out Stalinist communist. And, people do, oh, communism is different than fascism. No, idiots say that. Idiot communists try to sell you on that. The difference is such an irrelevant minutia that they're both collectivists. That's why I talk about collectivism, right? They're trying to distract you by, changing the topic. But anyways, the point is, one of the things that, and this is related to all of this, one of the things that Scott Adams mentioned on his podcast many times, who was a trained hypnotist, he would talk about just how powerful it can be. And people don't realize how powerful it is. They just kind of dismiss it, which is never going to change. I mean, that's fine. But there's something even more powerful about it, not just the fact that its ability to persuade people. But the other thing that's extremely powerful that I don't know he ever mentioned, I never heard him say this, it's also a cloak. It's like a stealth bomber or a stealth fighter. You'll never see it when it's happening. That's just, unless you're trained really well and you know exactly what to look for. Even when you know what's happening, often you still can't resist it. That's how powerful it is, right? It's like when the TDS people are suffering cognitive dissonance, they don't know they're experiencing a programmed response. That TDS thing comes, in my opinion, I could be wrong, but everything I see, that comes from Robert Cialdini when he joined the Clinton campaign. And for those who don't know, read his book Influence and his other book Persuasion will give you some insight into this and how it works, right? And Dugan writes today, he just wrote, he's posting like a madman, almost like his life depends upon it, because I'm willing to bet it does. I think he effed up big time, and Putin's going to be looking at him and thinking, yeah, remember Prigozhin? I think we're going to Prigozhin Dugan. I think that might be in his future. But he says, it's very difficult to fight against the full spectrum of Epstein class, from far left liberals, Soros and woke, to far right neoconservatives, Christian Zionists, Lindsey Graham, Fox, Levine, but it's necessary. There it is. Can you see it? Can you see who assigned the opinion to Tucker Carlson, or should I say they assigned the emotion to Tucker Carlson to hate Christian Zionists? Dugan just said it himself. He slipped it right into your subconscious. It's very difficult to fight against the full spectrum of Epstein class, from far left liberals to far right neoconservatives and Christian Zionists, but it's necessary. That is where Tucker Carlson gets it. from this idiot drunkard communist wearing Christianity as a skin suit. That's where it comes from. The good news is we're going to fix it. It's just going to take some time. So I always like to, Maureen says, I don't believe oh, Tucker is a sellout. Okay, yeah. Is that like, I'm confused with the conversation, but we'll sorry, I'm just checking on the notes on here. I love you all. Maybe whoever's, is there a way I can display this? There was, I think but there's no way for me to scroll it once it's up there. All right, we'll play with this as this is going on, as we improve this this platform, and we put a little bit more duct tape and glue on it. So I want to finish off, as I always like to, with a little bit of positivity. And I think there is so much that we need to consider. And what is that? The world has never been so amazing. Think about it. Think about the advances of technology. We're actually considering and attempting to not only go to the moon again and set up infrastructure on the moon permanently, but to do the same thing for Mars. You got these little addictive things, smartphones, but they are life-changing. They allow you to engage with work on the go, or just clear your mind, or you have access to all of human knowledge permanently here. And now you have a friendly AI buddy you can talk to when you're trying to figure things out. That's what I do when I'm on the road. I talk to it. I'm like, hey, I'm trying to work on something for XYZ sort of platform. Can you give me a synopsis on A, B, and C? Today I was talking to to Leah, or Leah is my AI, about the overlap of Rasputin and Dugin, and that they use the exact same strategies. And that's why they both have the exact same gross beard. I'm willing to bet he sees himself as a modern day Rasputin, right? Except that he's very, very unattractive, and Rasputin was very successful with the ladies, right? But the point is, the world is so amazing. There's so many good things going on. Forget the fact that Iran is going to be, well, don't forget the fact. Acknowledge the fact that Iran is going to be free. Venezuela is going to be free. Cuba is going to be free. Maybe Canada will be free one time, right? We have so much advances in technology. We have a new iPhone Fold coming out, by the way. I'm very excited for that, so I can hopefully go back to iPhone. But it's important to take a moment to enjoy it, to look around and say, hey, you know what? Things are really good. Things are amazing, right? Because if you don't stop to sit back and reframe to the positive and look at all the positive things going on in the world, you might just miss it. Like the lefty communists at the CBC missed Canada's Woodstock moment right in front of their doorstep. It was right there. They always celebrate Woodstock. They were there, and they didn't even bother to step out of their office and go talk to people because they were lazy, extreme collectivist ideologues, right? Don't be like that. We need to focus on all the good things that are going on. It's easy to focus on negative things in our life and negative aspects in our life. The skill is focusing on the positive things. I know, Jesse, we're going to talk about that, but we'll do that in the Discord. All right. So I love you all. Maureen, thank you so much. And I'm willing to bet Maureen's got a lot to contribute. I don't know if you're in the Discord, but you should be in the Discord, because I think that story that you talked about traveling through the Middle East would be excellent to share with the rest of us. And but that's up to you. And Jesse can lead you to the Discord if you want. I got to run for today. I think, okay, I only have one thing to shut down today because I'm merging this all together. Hopefully this all worked and doesn't screw up the entire infrastructure and flow. And if it didn't, we'll continue doing it this way. And if not, well, there's going to be more figuring things out in the future. But I do love you all. I thank you all for being here. You're amazing. I will be back at this. I won't be doing, I don't think. I got to figure it out. I'm going to be on a plane on Friday morning when I normally do the stream. So I don't know what to do. Either I'll do something later on Friday, earlier on Friday, or I might just have to kick it to Saturday next week. But I will let you know. And I apologize if I can't make it for Friday. but we'll find out. I'll talk to you guys in the Discord about it as well. But more importantly, I hope you all have an amazing week. And please consider that. Just focus on all the amazing things going on in the world. The fact, like right now, you're living in this era. If you're a Trump supporter, you're only going to have 3 years left of this, less than 3 years, right? It's an amazing time of the world is shifting from peace through weakness, which is not possible, to peace through strength. You don't want to miss it and let it just go by being trapped in all the negative things that happen. Embrace it and enjoy it, and just laugh as much as possible about some of the ridiculousness you see in the world. That's just my perspective. That's how I view the world. All right. So you're all amazing. I love you all, and I will be talking to you all very soon. All right. Have an amazing week and be kind to people. Bye-bye.